He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the sunnah, worship Him, just follow Him.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Ustada Layla Nashiba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnah followers.
Let's get started. Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our new series of how to perform the prayer. How to perform the prayer, how to pray from A to Z. And how are we learning how to pray? The way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to pray, not from a mathab. We're not praying from a mat, learning how to pray from a mathab. We're not learning how to pray from somebody else's viewpoint. Okay, and before I begin, let me just answer a question that a couple of the new shahadas sent to me. Some of the new sisters asked me, is it true that we women pray differently than men? Some of the sisters, they attend some masajids, and the masajids are telling them that they pray a little differently. We don't have to bend all the way down and cover to our and place our hands over our knees. One sister said that they can bring the arms in closer and don't have to have their back straight so their derriere doesn't toot out. This is all garbage. I don't know where these brothers are getting their information from. Perhaps, you know, they're just putting their own twist to things, which is what a lot of Muslims are doing today. They're putting their own twist or their own likes and dislikes to this religion, and that's not what Islam is based upon. I want all the new shahadas to remember that Islam is based on only two sources: the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And all actions of worship must be performed the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to perform them. And as Aisha radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the first scholars of Islam, as she said when the women came to learn from her, when the Roman women came to learn the deen from her, as she told them, I heard some people say that we women pray differently than men. She said, this is not true. She said, we pray the same way that the men pray. So anyone telling you that because you are of the female gender, you don't have to have a straight back. You don't have to toot your derriere up. This is garbage. First of all, if a person is praying, what are they doing looking at your derriere? First of all, as Muslim women, and that's going to be a different topic here, we don't pray side by side with the men. Do you guys hear me with that? Because this is a big innovation, another innovation that's happened here in America. Oh, yeah. In the South. I'm always talking about the South here. Everything seems to begin and end with the South. They're saying that free mixing, that the women should pray with the men in the main musalla. Because this is what the Prophet did. That's not correct. First of all, we need to learn this religion and learn it correctly. First of all, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Medina, and that's when the Muslims were able to practice their religion openly. First of all, there were only a handful of them. There were not hundreds of women like you see in the masajids down there in Texas. Oh, yeah. There were not that type of people. There weren't that many people. And the prophet did not put the women behind the men like that. Oh, no, that's not how they prayed. The women did not pray head to butt of the men. No. As Aisha radiallahu anha said, the men would pray in the front. The young boys would pray behind them. And then the women would pray in the back behind them. So there was a lot of distance between the women and the men in the prophet's time, even though it was a handful of them. They had the teenagers and the young boys. We're talking Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar, Abu Huraira, and all the young boys, the teens and all, would be behind the men. The women prayed behind the boys. So there was distance between them and distance between the men. It's not like what you see in some of these masajids here in America, masajids in where the earthquake hit. Where did the earthquake hit today? LA. We have a mosque in LA that has free mixing. Y'all see where Allah sends his punishment? There's a mosque in LA that allows it's a large Islamic center. And the women and men pray basically next to each other. This is not Islam. That is not the way the female companions carried on with the men. Oh, no. Oh, no. There was a big distance between them. The boys and the teenagers were in front of the women, not no man. Aisha was not standing head to butt with Umar. This misconception, remind me to edit this. This misconception, guys, that women and men, that the prophet companions prayed together, that the women and men all prayed side by side or right behind each other. That's not true. The prophet Muhammad put the boys and the young men behind the men, and the women were in the back. So the men couldn't see the women. If the men looked behind them, between their legs, they saw other men, other boys, not the women. And also to let you guys know, there was a separate door. The Prophet, and we're going to go over them hadiths. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wouldn't even allow the men to get up when the prayer was over. And they would give salams and salam out the prayer. The Prophet would not even allow the men to leave until after the women had left. So there was no way that the men could turn around and say, hey, what's up, baby? Age, sex, location. That didn't happen in the Prophet's day. Oh, no. It was a big distance. The distance, like I said, was so big that they couldn't see the women because they had the boys behind the men. That's not based on distance. That's based on blocking. The prophet used the human body as a wall because in the 6th century, they didn't have block buildings like that. So the prophet used us, the human being, as a wall. What was the partition between the women and the men? The young boys. Y'all understand? What was the petition between the women and the men? The young boys. And the women were distanced away from them too. Hello. So don't get it twisted. This is the problem with America. This is why Allah is sending hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes to America. And look where these things are happening. You got these people that call themselves scholars. And look where the earthquake is happening, right there. Look where the hurricanes are happening, right there. Look where all the storms and natural calamities are happening, right where these men and women are that are pretending to be scholars of this deen, who are thinking that they can change the religion to accommodate the feminist movement, to accommodate the LGBTQ, all because they have been promised positions of power and authority, and they have been promised fame and recognition, and they have been promised, a lot of them, money from the federal government. Don't get it twisted. From the federal government, the Democratic Party, to be technical, the Zionists themselves. Oh yeah, American politics. So whoever's telling you sisters this, they're a bunch of liars. And Allah is going to deal with them for lying on the prophet. Allah is going to deal with them for lying on the believer, the women of the mothers of the believers, because you would not see no woman standing behind a man's behind praying in no mosque. That ain't how it worked. And like I said, the prophet wouldn't even let the men leave until the women left. They couldn't even look around to see who was behind them. The prophet would tell them, stay where you are until the women leave. And we're going to go over that hadith tonight. Allah is Akbar, not man. Allah has protected this religion from being tampered with. Allah has preserved this beautiful way of life where these ignorant men and women of today cannot distort it. And like the prophet said, there'll always be a handful of believers that will try to uphold his sunnah. Well, inshallah, I am one of those handful. Inshallah, I am one of those handful who's here to set the record straight. There's no free mixing in Islam, and there's no free mixing in the prayer. And the prophet would never have allowed such sacrilege. So take your earthquake and understand it's Allah's curse upon you. You know, that mosque know who they are. Oh yeah. So that answers that question. We pray the same way the men do, and we don't pray shoulder to shoulder with them. We don't pray butt to head to butt to them. The women stand in the back, way in the back, way in the back. And the young men are between you and the brothers so that they can't see you, so they can't flirt with you, so they can't look at your derriere, so they can't call themselves distracted by the colors you wear. How can you be distracted when the women are not even around you? They're in the back, a big enough distance where there was no fitting. How much was the distance? The distance was so great that there was no fitting. And what was the partition? The partition was the human body. Just like if somebody came to my house to pray, let's just say that I invited some of the brothers. Let's say I was married. Let's say my husband invited 4 brothers over for dinner and their wives. If we were going to pray, and their children, if we were going to pray together, the men would stand in the front. We'd gather all the children. We'd put the young boys behind the men, and we women would stand way back from them, and we pray that way. Y'all understand? So when they tell you the prophet didn't pray with a partition, that's really not true. He did have a partition. The partition was the human body, the young boys. That hadith is Sahih Bukhari. The young boys, as Aisha said, were between us. And she says, so the men couldn't see us. You brothers need to learn these hadiths. Just because you memorized how to sing the Quran don't make you no scholar. Until you learn those hadiths, you will never, ever, ever understand the Quran. And until you learn Aisha, radiallahu anha's fatwas, you will really never understand this religion. Because she breaks it down in detail. Women are more articulate than men. Women like to talk, so we give more details. Just like I'm giving more details than you brothers give. Y'all say, oh, no partition. Oh, that's a lie. What's the little boys? Isn't that a partition? It's called human body. We women are smarter than you brothers. More articulate. So you better learn Aisha's fatwas. Okay? And again, nowadays we have separate rooms. And this is another lie too. I also heard that one of these famous personalities said that even under the four caliphs, that's not true. Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, was the one who began the biggest expansion of the mosque and the city of Medina. He was the one that built houses that were 2 and 3 stories high. He was the one that expanded the mosque in size and number of rooms. The women did have areas that they could go to during his caliph and after to pray. So I don't know where these brothers are getting their information from. They're not learning the hadiths. And they're totally disregarding the fatwas of Salama, the fatwas of Aisha, radiallahu anha, the fatwas of Zainab, the daughter of the Prophet. You brothers got to stop picking and choosing what y'all want to accept. And you may complain on the ignorance of Western Muslims who don't know no better. But there are some of us Eastern Muslims, like right here, who was born here and do know better. So y'all need to stop it. Stop misleading these American Muslims. Stop misleading them just so you can get across your agenda for fame. Your agenda for fame that was promised to you by the White House here in America. You and your White House. There'll always be a handful of us to call you out, prove you wrong. All right. So do you sisters understand that the women and men did not pray next to each other or straight behind each other in the prophet's time? Is that clear? Did I answer that? I need somebody in the Zoom to show me that to pay attention, because this is important stuff, and I need to know, am I breaking this down for these new shahadas? So is there anyone in this Zoom room that's listening to me that can tell me, did I explain this well for them?
Yes. Yes, you did.
You know, because I'm sick of this crap. Okay? All right. So, and by the way, sisters, we will cover, like I said, in this class, I'm going to go over the positions of the prayer, how to do them, what to say. We're going to cover all of that in this series. Okay, but for right now, we're focusing in on the times of the prayer. The times of the prayer. And as we talked about the last time we met for this class, Allah has set each prayer at a fixed time. Who can tell me what is the purpose of that? Why did Allah set these prayers at fixed times during the day? Can anyone answer that? Why did he make it so that Asrs were at that time, Dhuhr at that time, Maghrib? Why did he break it? Why couldn't just pray one time and call it a day? Why did he spread them out at different times of the day and the night? Why did he do that? What was the purpose? Nobody knows? Yeah, Sister Khadijah, that's the mosque I'm talking about. Yeah, there's that mosque in California that does that. They got the women and men praying basically butt to butt. It's just ridiculous. They're following the fatwa of the American Fiqh Council. That's where they get that from. And y'all know who the American Fiqh Council is led by. Okay? That's garbage. Okay, why did Allah fix the prayers at the different times during the day like he did? It's a simple answer. Does anyone know?
So you can do what you have to do within that time frame.
That too, but why is it that we pray 5 times a day and they're spread out at different points of the day? What's the purpose of that? Exactly, Miss Jackson. Good job. And I want y'all on the Zoom to pay attention. You guys are not learning anything. I don't know what's going on with y'all in that Zoom room. What y'all doing? Watching the Olympics? What you doing? Playing with the kids? Y'all better learn your deen. Good job, Miss Jackson. Allah did it so that we can remember him. The whole point is he wants us to remember him as often as we can. So that's why Allah fixed the prayers at different points during the day. He wants you to stop what you're doing to remember him. He wants you to put him before your job. He wants you to put him before your children, before your wives, your husbands, before this dunya. So that's why each prayer has a fixed time. And out of the mercy of Allah, like she said, he gives us ample time to pray each one. And by the way, when does each prayer end? Can anybody tell me? When does each prayer end? In other words, how long do I have to pray a salah? How long do I have to pray dhuhr? How long do I have to pray asr? How long do I have to perform a prayer? Can anybody tell me? An hour?
Until the next prayer comes in?
Yes, we have until the adhan for the next prayer. That's the mercy of Allah. So if dhuhr comes in at 1 o'clock, you have between 1 and 1 o'clock until the adhan for asr. Y'all understand? If dhuhr comes in at 1 o'clock, asr comes in at 5. You can pray dhuhr up until the adhan is called for asr at 5. So that's the mercy of Allah. So a lot of people will tell you that if you don't pray as soon as the adhan is called, you prayed your prayer late. That's not true. And we're going to go over that hadith today. No, you're not praying your prayer late. The Prophet Muhammad said to pray a prayer late is to pray it outside of its time frame. So if dhuhr comes in at 1 o'clock and I don't make it until 4, I'm not praying dhuhr late. I prayed it. I'm on time. So this is another misconception. And a lot of us as parents, you have to be careful, because when you tell your children that if they don't pray as soon as the adhan is called, you're going to make them hate prayer. I know. I grew up in America. I ain't no Elijah Muhammad. I don't come from no crazy background. I come from Siratul Mustaqim. I ain't never been part of no Nation of Islam. I'm a Muslim, born and raised in America as one. Okay? And my mother, to teach us to pray, she at the beginning had us thinking, you got to pray right now. So that's kind of hard. I mean, I was a little 7-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid, and you telling me because the Adhan is being called, I got to get up now and stop eating. She had us stop eating our food. You know, if I was in the tub, get out the tub, Layla. Oh, that makes it hard, and that kind of turns the children off. Teach them the religion the correct way. Don't try to scare them into praying. Because when you put fear in people, the people are going to grow up resenting it. Okay? Just tell them the Adhan has been called. Finish eating or finish cleaning up your room. But when you're done, don't forget to make your prayer. You don't have to stop and just go pray unless you're doing something like watching TV. Now, if I'm not busy doing anything, if I'm just sitting there watching Leave It to Beaver, that's different. You can turn Leave It to Beaver off and go pray, Layla. But if I'm cleaning up my room or taking a shower or eating dinner or something, oh, thank you, I'll get to it as soon as I get done. That's the mercy of Allah. Does everybody understand that? So this is a misconception. When y'all people are telling y'all you got to pray immediately, that's garbage. You have until the beginning of the next prayer. Allah made this deen easy. When we put our opinion in, we make it hard. Okay, so that's basically what we spoke about the last time we met. And then I also went over the times of Dhuhr, the times of Asr, the time of Maghrib, and the time of Isha. Does everybody understand? And I told you guys your homework for the weekend was when it was time to pray to look outside at the sky to see if you can tell when the time of prayer is, because you never know. When the war hits, it will hit here. When the war gets to America, you ain't gonna have no clocks. When they start bombing you, putting you in concentration camps in America, you're gonna have to look up at that sky to be able to recognize the time of the prayer. So what I've done is put some pictures together to see if I can help you guys to try to figure out the time. So let's see. Let me put my PowerPoint up. And by the way, and today what I'm going to do, I know I didn't cover the Fajr prayer. I saved that for today. Today I'm going to go over the Fajr prayer and the time of day in which we are not supposed to pray. So I'm going to make this screen larger. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, I've made my picture real small at the bottom. And let's see. The times of the prayers. Let's see if you can recognize. Okay, I want you guys to look here. Look at the sky. Look at the color. Who can tell me what time, what prayer is this? And you don't have to confuse it, because you look at the top, you see this white thing right here. Y'all see that? What's this white thing here? Can anybody tell me? What is this? What is it? What is this white thing? Say it again.
The meridian?
No. This white, y'all see my mouse?
Is the sun?
No.
What's your mouse? I can see the mouse.
Look at the picture. Y'all, I don't know if y'all can see in here. Can you guys see on YouTube where my mouse is at? Right here is a crescent. There's a crescent right here. What is this? When you look up in the sky and see a crescent, what is that? What's the crescent?
Was it sunset?
Okay, no. Okay. All right. I want everybody to look. Do y'all see that white speck right here? It's a crescent. All right, let's just, y'all don't know what a crescent is. Okay.
We don't see no.
It looks like the moon.
No, we don't see
That's it. It's the
Moon.
moon. Y'all don't see the moon right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Anissa. That's the moon. So that should tell you what prayer this is. The moon is right there.
That's Maghrib.
So look at the color. I want everybody to type what prayer you think it is. They said Maghrib in here. What do you guys think?
Maghrib.
Okay, good job. And why was I emphasizing the crescent? Because that way you don't confuse Maghrib with Fajr.
Yeah.
Because the way you can recognize Maghrib and Fajr is, what color is the sky? Orange. Whenever you see orange, that's either sunrise or sunset. So how can I look at this sky and know that this is Maghrib and not Fajr? Because of that white thing at the top. If it's Maghrib, you'll always see the crescent of the moon. Or you'll see the moon. The sun doesn't look like that, guys. Did y'all look outside? When have you ever seen the sun look like a moon? Big difference. The sun doesn't shine like that. So that's how you can tell Maghrib from Fajr. Fajr, the sun would be at the bottom. Because when Fajr time comes, the sun is rising. Maghrib, the sun has set. So if the sun sets, that means you ain't gonna see no sun, right? So if you do see a white thing in the sky, it's got to be the moon because the sun has set. Do you understand now, Geechee, why I was emphasizing that moon? You can't look at this and say, oh, this got to be Fajr. Because Fajr means the sun would be at the bottom, not the top. If you see a white thing at the top, that's the moon. The sun would never be at the top except on the day of judgment. Okay? All right. I don't know why y'all can't see it because even here, let me see. Let me show y'all. Here it is. Can y'all see this? I'm drawing a circle around the moon. Now do y'all see it?
See it now, yeah.
I don't know how y'all couldn't see that. That's the moon. Y'all see it there? That's the moon, that little white crescent.
Yeah, so, I saw it right away.
I did too. I don't know. That's why I was shocked at them. Yeah, so that's how you know the sun would never be up high like that, you know. So you know that this is Maghrib. Okay, let's look at the next one. How do I close that? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let me do this so I can take that off too. Okay. What time is this? Look at the sun. Look at the color of the sky. That's how you can do it, Miss Jackson. Look at, are there any colors? All you see is blue and clouds. And you see a real bright light, like a star. No colors. There's no yellow. There's no red. There's no orange. It's just a bright light with the regular clouds and the sky. What prayer is this?
Zuhr and Dur.
This is Zuhr. Good job, Brother Tajri. Good job, Sakina. This is Zuhr. And Zuhr is easy to recognize because it's the only prayer that has no color in the sky. All you will see is the brightness of the sun, unless the clouds are covering it. And even if the clouds were covering it, You wouldn't have no color in the sky at all. It's just regular sky. So this is dur. Everybody see that? Good job. Y'all got that one right. It's not hard to tell what time the prayers are. I learned this when I was a kid. My stepfather taught me. Okay, what about this? This might be a little bit harder, but I want y'all to look at the sky. Always look at the color. What color do you see? You see yellow, orange.
That's awesome.
What time y'all think this is? Look at the colors. It's a yellowish, orangish color. Go ahead and type your answer, Miss Jackson. What do you think this is, Miss Jackson?
Margaret.
Okay, Mina said Maghrib. Fatima said Asr. Sakina said Asr. Jamila said Maghrib. Pamela said Asr. What do you think, Miss Jackson? Miss Jackson, what do you think? Okay, the color. If it was Maghrib, what color does the sky have to be in order for it to be Maghrib, guys? This is how you can tell Maghrib from Asr. What color is
Orange.
Okay, for Maghrib, the color of the sky is red, not orange, red. When the sun sets, the sky turns red. Do you see any red here? Or do you see yellow turning orange? Okay, when the sky is yellow, that's Asr. So for those of you who said Asr, you got it right. This is Asr. This is Asr time. This is not Fajr. Fajr is totally different. Fajr is dawn. Fajr is dark outside still. It's not, at Fajr is still dark, guys, with just a little sliver. This is Asr. So whenever you look at the sky and see yellow like this and the sun is setting, y'all see how the sun is going down, it's going towards the land. That means it's almost. In fact, this is almost Maghrib. This, when you look at the sky and see it yellow with orange at the bottom, that means you ain't got but 30 minutes. I'm going to be honest. That means you ain't got but 30 minutes to make that Asr, or it's going to be Maghrib. That means that you got 30 minutes. Exactly, Sakina. When it's Asr outside, your house turns yellow. Y'all know how when you walk around a house at a certain time of the day and it's yellow, the walls are yellow and stuff? That's Asr. That's the beginning of Asr. Asr stays yellow. But there's another way you can recognize when that Asr's almost over is when you see the orange come in and shadows. We're going to get to that in a minute. But this is the beginning. Well, this is really the middle of Asr. Middle of Asr. What about this? Look at the colors. Look at the grass, the trees, the color. You see any orange? You see any red? Do you see any color? Or you just see a bright light? What time is this? This is a forest. This is if you were in the woods. Nothing's turned color. All you see is that bright sky. Good job, Halima. Good job, Fatima. This is Dhur. This is still Dhur. But this is how Dhur looks if you were in the woods or if you were sitting outside and you got a lot of trees. Okay, there's no shadows. There's no shadows. It's just beautiful light. You can see the color of the grass still, the color of everything. But there's lights. Yeah, this is Dhur. Okay. What about this? Here we go. Look at the colors. This one should be easy. You see yellow around the sun. But then again, look at the bottom. You see the red. What prayer is this?
Maghrib.
Remember, I told you, how can you tell the difference between Maghrib and Asr? What color will you see more of for Maghrib?
We'll see more red from red.
Exactly, red. So what prayer is this?
Maghrib.
This is Maghrib. This is Maghrib. This is sunset. This is Maghrib. Okay? Remember, how can I tell the difference between Maghrib and Fajr? For Maghrib, the red will be at the bottom. For Fajr, the red will be at the top. At the top of this, it's yellow and orange. So this is Maghrib. The red is at the bottom. If the red were at the top, that's how you know that the sun was rising, and it would be Fajr. This is Maghrib. So I want y'all to write that down. For Maghrib, the red is at the bottom. The red is at the bottom. For Fajr, the red is at the top. The red is at the top. For Asr, the sky is yellow and orange. No red. Yellow and orange. No red. And that's how you make it. And every day, what I'm going to do, every time I do this class, I'm going to throw pictures in to test you with. You guys will get better at it. My students got worse. Y'all got worse. But y'all ain't been practicing. Y'all been relying on that Adhan caller. See, I never use those Adhan callers. Never. Never have. Plus, they wrong anyway. Okay. What about this? This should be easy. Look at this picture. What type prayer is this? Maybe you live in New York. Maybe you live in Cleveland. You downtown. All them tall buildings. Everybody walking. What prayer is this? And what's exactly? This is Asr. And how can you tell? Because of the shadow. This is what I was telling you. When you can see your whole body, when you can see the shadow of your whole body on the ground, that's how you know it's Asr time. And by the way, this is the beginning of Asr. This is the beginning of Asr. So if you're walking around downtown and you see your shadow, this is Asr. Fajr has no shadows. Fajr has nothing. Fajr is dark with just a little light. None of these pictures are Fajr. I'm letting you guys know I haven't used any Fajr pictures. I'm going to save that for the next time. But none of these are Fajr. Fajr is dawn. Fajr is an Arabic word that means dawn. Dawn doesn't have any light. If you guys are praying Fajr and there's light outside, that means you're making your Fajr late. Y'all to miss Fajr. Fajr is not sunrise. Fajr is dawn. As Muslims, and we're going to talk about that today, it is haram to pray when the sun is rising. So if any of you are waiting till the sun rises to pray, you are praying with the devil. You are praying with shaitan. That is not Fajr. Fajr is no light like that. This is Asr. Okay, what about this? You might be out in the country or out in the desert with your husband or on the beach. How do I know what time of prayer this is? What time is this?
Awesome.
Exactly. And what's the giveaway? The shadow. Even though it's cloudy outside, even though the sun is not shining bright, you can see my shadow and his shadow. So this is Asr. This is the beginning of Asr. When you see the shadow of yourself, that's how you know it's time for Asr. Y'all see that? This is the beginning of Asr. When the sky starts turning that orangey color, you know you better get busy because it's almost time for Maghrib. But this is Asr. When you stand outside or even in your house, you're walking around in your apartment and you can see your shadow on the walls. Oh God, it's time for Asr. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys quizzes like this during the course of this class. What about this one? Look at the sky. There's no color. All you see is the blue and the clouds. There's no orange, no yellow, no red. What time is this?
Zuhr.
Exactly. This is Dhuhr. This is Dhuhr. There's no color in the sky. Dhuhr is easy to recognize because the sun is up and there's no colors. All you see is the clouds and the whatever color the sky is. When the sky starts turning yellow, that's when you know that it's Asr. If it's a cloudy day and you can't see the color of the sky, if you see your shadow, that's how you know it's Asr. When the sky starts turning red from the bottom, that's how you know it's Maghrib. Fajr is not any color. If you guys are praying when the top part of the sky is red, that's sunrise. That's the time Shaitan, the worshipers of Shaitan, pray. Y'all shouldn't be doing no prayers at that time, period. Okay. So, now what I'm going to do today is talk about Fajr. Wait a minute. And this is the misconception that a lot of Muslims have. Unfortunately, guys, a lot of Muslims think that Fajr means sunrise. It does not. Fajr is dawn. It begins at dawn. And you have to make it before the sun rises. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed the morning prayer in the darkness of the dawn. So it's still dark outside for Fajr, guys. Fajr is not when the sun is rising. It's still dark outside. It's going to be just a sliver, a little sliver of light. You can look up and see a line that goes across the sky. That's dawn. Okay? Aisha, and this is the hadith I wanted to show you guys. These brothers telling y'all that the prophet and the companions, they used to pray butt to butt, the women next to them and they butts touching them and all that. This is a lie. The women prayed in the back. They were not near the men. They were nowhere near the men. And the partition was the young boys. And Aisha, radiallahu anha, says the believing women. And that's the difference. Some of us are believers. Some of us are not, even though we all claim to be Muslims. The believing women would pray the morning prayer with the prophet. enveloped in their clothing, and they would return to their homes after the prayer, and no one could recognize who they were due to the darkness of the dawn. The prophet took precautions. Allah gave us precautions to separate the women from men, so we don't have all that free mixing and sex like what's happening in the masajids today. Oh yeah, a lot of sex going on in these masajids. Sex out of wedlock, I'm talking. Because you intermixing and you're lying on the companions. You're lying on Allah. You're lying on the prophet, because the president, the Democratic Party promised you to be on the task force if you support them and get the Muslims to vote for them. Okay? So you want to revisit the religion and make some changes like the Jews did with their book. Well, we're going to stop you from that. You can make your fatwas for your fiqh councils, but ain't nobody got to follow them or listen to them. Okay? So, Fajr is still dark outside, guys. It's not daytime yet. We have another hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, pray the Fajr prayer at daybreak because your reward will be greater. Make the Fajr prayer at the shining time of dawn. What's the shining time of dawn? I'm going to show y'all some pictures in next class. It's when it's still dark outside, but there's a light, a little light at the top of the sky. I'm going to show y'all some pictures next time, okay? In another version, make the Fajr prayer at the shining time of the dawn because your reward is greater. So Allah, He perfected this religion for us. Do you think that Allah was going to have women and men praying in the early morning like that? No. We're going to talk about why. And now this is another misconception. A lot of the young brothers come to me and they tell me that their imam told them that as long as you catch the ruku'ah, the bowing, you've caught the prayer. Is that what the Prophet Muhammad said? No. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whoever catches one rakat of the prayer has made the prayer on time. And what is a rakat? The rakat is completed when you're prostrating, because there is no prayer without al-Fatiha. That's the standing. Also, the ruku'ah is a pillar. The prostration is a pillar. So if you catch the prostration, that's one rakat. The bowing is not a rakat. Everybody understand that? And where's my dalil? Again, hadith. Imam Bukhari, whoever of you catches one prostration has caught the prayer. There's your dalil from the hadith. Can't get no more authentic than that. So if you join the prayer when the imam, is prostrating, you've caught the prayer. Does everybody understand that? So the prostration is the rakat. Here's the evidence. As Imam Bukhari tells us, that's why these brothers need to learn these hadiths instead of memorizing how to sing. The prostration is the rakat. The one that catches the one rakat of the morning or afternoon prayer should complete the prayer, even if the sun is setting or rising. And one rakat means if you catch it by the prostration. Does everybody understand that? And there's the dalil. That's for the young brothers. And I'll go back over that. When I start teaching you guys how to pray, I'll go over that again. But I wanted you young brothers to see that, because it's not rukua. It's not the bowing. It's the prostration. So that brings us to the question that many of you may ask, well, what if I oversleep? What if I oversleep and miss Fajr? Or I oversleep and I miss Dhuhr? Or what if I'm so busy at work dealing with my clients, dealing with my patients, that I forgot to pray? Or what if I'm sitting on the internet teaching and I really forgot to pray? Well, our prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told us, he said, whoever sleeps through a prayer or whoever forgets to pray should make it as soon as you wake up or as soon as you remember it. So say I'm sitting here teaching you guys and I forgot to pray Dhuhr, and here it is time for Asr, almost Maghrib, and I just remembered, man, I didn't make Dhuhr. Then I get up and immediately go pray Dhuhr. And then I would pray my whatever prayer is in. Y'all understand? So pray the prayer you miss first, and then pray whatever prayer is in when it's time. Okay? The same with sleeping. Let's say, for example, and this used to happen to me a lot, I work third shift. I wake up at Maghrib. I missed Dhuhr and Asr. I was asleep. Allah doesn't hold us accountable for what we do when we sleep. So when I wake up, I'll get up, make wudu. I would pray Dhuhr first, then give salams, and then I would call the Iqamat and pray Asr. And if it's time for Maghrib, then I would give salams, call the Iqamat, and pray Maghrib. You just make them up. That's the only time you can make up a prayer, is if you were asleep or forgot. Y'all understand? You can't say that I'm going to make up my prayers because I got to go to work. Oh, no. If you at work, you have to take a break and go pray. If you're at school, you have to take a break and go pray. You cannot deliberately, intentionally miss a prayer. And where's my dalil? The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, there is no negligence in sleeping, but negligence does occur when you awake. If you forget a prayer or you sleep through it, then pray it when you remember it, or pray it when you wake up. Those are the only two excuses that Allah accepts for missing a prayer. Y'all understand that? And you make them as soon as you remember them or wake up. And there's the dalil. I've given all the sources here. Everything I'm teaching you is straight from the hadith. It's not from no school of thoughts or school of hard knocks. Also, the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said whoever forgets a prayer should pray it as soon as he remembers. And there is no expiation except that. In other words, you ain't got to do no Hail Marys. Oh, yeah. We got Muslims that innovate. You ain't got to do no Hail Marys. What you Hailing Mary for? We ain't Catholics. You ain't got to fast no 2 months. You ain't got to do nothing except just make the prayer that you forgot. That's it. See how easy the religion is. And that's based on another hadith. Something happened. Like I tell you guys, something had to happen for the Prophet to say something. Well, one of the companions says, we went with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the night. And when the last part of the night came, we became tired and fell asleep. And we didn't wake up until we felt the heat of the sun the next day. Some of us tried quickly to make wudu. The Prophet ordered us to just take our time. And then we rolled on until the sun had risen. And then we made wudu. And he ordered Bilal to call the adhan. And then we prayed 2 rakats. before the morning prayer. Then we stood and prayed. We said, "Oh, messenger of Allah, should we make this prayer again tomorrow?" The prophet said, "No, why would you have to do that? Would your Lord forbid you from interest and then take it from you?" So that's the dalil. They had overslept. Their companions and the prophet had overslept and missed the prayer. They waited until the sun had risen, and then they went on ahead and prayed it. And there's no expiation for that. And there's the dalil. And that brings us to the last thing I want to talk about just for today. And by the way, here it is. Yeah. Oh, I thought I had. Wait, what is this popping up on this computer? My laptop. It says HP audio switch. Y'all can still hear me, right? What is this audio switch? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
I don't know how that popped up. Okay. By the way, there are some forbidden times for us to pray. It is forbidden to pray after Fajr until sunrise. What does that mean? That means once you wake up for Fajr and make those rakats, don't pray no more until after the sun has risen, because you're going to be putting yourself too close to the time that the people worship Shaitan. And also, we don't pray when the sun rises until the sun is completely up. So in other words, when you wake up and see, look at this picture here. This picture here, let's say it's Fajr. You wake up and see this outside, that's the sun rising, let's say. You don't pray at this time. This is the forbidden time to pray, because this is when the people that worship the devil pray. So if this is the time that y'all been making Fajr, you've been praying Fajr wrong. Fajr is dusk. It's dawn. It's when it's still dark outside. This is too late. We don't do no prayers until the sun is completely up. The red is gone. How do you know that the sun has risen? When you see no more red at the bottom. You see no more red, no more yellow. That's when you know the sun has risen. Okay? And also, we don't pray when the sun is at its zenith. That means when it's directly above your head. We don't pray when it's directly above our head either. If you stand outside and the sun is right over your head, that's the forbidden time to pray. The prophet, this is based on a hadith where Abu Sa'id tells us that the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there is no prayer after the Fajr prayer until the sun has risen. So there's your dalil. That's Bukhari and Muslim. Don't make no voluntary prayers after Fajr. Y'all understand that? No prayers after Fajr. You pray Fajr, and you can pray those 2 rakats before Fajr. We got 2 sunans before Fajr, but there's no rakats after Fajr. Y'all see the dalil? We have the hadith, whereas Ibn Abbas tells us Amir ibn Abbas tells us that he said, "O Prophet of Allah, tell me about the prayers." He said, pray the Fajr prayer and then stop praying until after the sun rises. Because the sun rises between the horns of Shaitan. What does that mean? As Ibn Abbas explains in another hadith, every day when the sun rises, when y'all see the sun like this, Iblis gets off his throne and he stands in front of the sun. Can y'all believe that he's that arrogant and that sick? Iblis will stand up in front of the sun every day when the sun is rising. And he will stand up in front of the sun every day when it's setting, just so whoever worships the sun will bow to him. Now, y'all tell me if that ain't an arrogant imp. Can you imagine we got people just as arrogant as Shaitan? You're going to stand up in front of the sun every day when it rises, when it sets, and when it's at its zenith, so that the sun worshipers will pray to you. Okay? Also, Ibn Abbas said, the prophet said, pray as your prayer, he said, don't pray that way because the unbelievers prostrate to it. He said, then pray as your prayer will be witnessed and attended to until the shadow of a spear. In other words, you wait till after the sun has risen. That's basically summarizing what this is talking about. Okay? So we don't pray at sunset. We don't pray when the sun is rising, nor do we pray when the sun is above our heads. Okay? And here's another hadith again. One of the companions said, there are 3 times during which the prophet forbade us from praying or even burying our dead. We don't pray or bury them at sunrise, nor when the sun is at its meridian, nor when the sun is setting. We wait till it's done. So those are the forbidden times to pray. Now, what about this? The voluntary prayers. Say, for example, you wanted to make 2 rakats. Or say, for example, you woke up for Fajr late and the sun is rising. Well, in regards to the voluntary prayers, I'm going to show you why I don't use scholarly views. I put this here just so you can see how these other brothers do it. Most scholars agree that a person can make up missed prayers after the morning or afternoon prayers. And the scholars base it on the words of the prophet, where he says if someone forgets the prayer, he should pray it as soon as he remembers. Now, what do I teach you guys? I teach you that when you need a ruling, when you want to have a better understanding, we look to see what the real scholars, who were the companions, said, what they had to say. Look at this. In regards to the voluntary prayers, the following companions disliked to pray voluntary prayers during those times. Who were those companions? Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, Ibn Masud, Abu Huraira, and Ibn Umar. These were the best of the best. Ali will be the 4th person to enter paradise after the Prophet Muhammad. And check this out. Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, he used to beat anyone who prayed 2 rakats after the Asr prayer. He would beat them. Not only would Umar beat them, but Khalid bin Walid did too. Now, who understands this religion the best? These companions do. So I did this so y'all can see how when y'all ask me questions about the deen, I am always going to give you the answer based on those companions. And I don't have to look to see what the 4 imams had to say. I don't care what Imam Shafi said. I don't care what Imam Hanafi said. I gave you guys what what Umar said, what Ali said, what Khalid bin Walid said. Nobody understood this deen better than him. If Umar used to beat a person for making voluntary prayers after Asr, then that should tell you we can't do it. If Ali said you can't do it, Abu Hurairah said you can't do it, Ibn Umar. The Prophet may do it for all of these. Ibn Masud. Do you think I'm going to take anybody's opinion over theirs? Khalid bin Walid. You think I'm going to take anybody's opinion over his? So that's why I put this here. You won't see me doing most scholars. You will see me answering with the understanding of the original companions. I'm not even going to put the second generation here. I am not even going to put the third generation's view. I'm giving you the original's view. Everybody understand that? I just did it so y'all can see this is how I answer y'all's questions always. Okay? Finally, a lot of you asked the question, Sister Layla came to the masjid and the iqamah is being called. In fact, wasn't that one of the questions I had last Friday? A brother asked, and I think Jamali answered it for him. The brother was asking, what do you do? Or was it Dr. Ali? No, I think Dr. Ali answered it for him. You know, you come to the mosque and they're calling the iqamah. Well, let's take a look at this. If the prayer has already started, then you should not occupy yourself with voluntary prayers. And that's based on the hadith of Abu Hurairah. He said that the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, said, if the prayer is beginning, then there is no prayer except the obligatory one. And in another hadith, the Prophet said, save for the one for which iqamah has been made. In other words, like the brother asked and Dr. Ali answered him, you come to the mosque and you're making the 2 rakats for the mosque. And while you're making the 2 rakats for the mosque, the iqamah is being called. What do? Like Dr. Ali said, you salam out and you join. You join the salat line. You join the salat line. And you will get the reward of the iqamah, because the voluntary prayers do not supersede the obligatory ones, just like the voluntary fast. By the way, for those of you who have not made up your Ramadan fast, you need to get busy. A voluntary fast do not supersede the obligatory fast. If you fasted the 10 days of Arafat, you fasted Ashur, it doesn't mean nothing if you did not complete your Ramadan. We have another hadith where a man came to the mosque while the Prophet was leading the people in the Fajr prayer. The man prayed 2 rakats and then he joined the congregation. And the Prophet asked him, which one of those prayers do you count as the obligatory one? In other words, he was telling them, don't do that. When you come to the mosque and you see me leading the people in prayer, you join the prayer. You forget the voluntary prayer. Forget the 2 rakats. You get the reward for them. Okay? And by the way, he didn't have to repeat the prayer either. The Prophet just told him, don't do that. Next time, just join us. Okay? All right. So this is what I wanted to go over today. And here's all the dalil if you want to take screenshots of that. So if you're at the mosque, you come to the mosque and they're praying and you do 2 rakats and then join the line. Do you have to pray your prayer over? No, but that's incorrect. Next, don't do that anymore. You forget the 2 rakats and join the prayer instead, because the voluntary prayers do not take precedence over the obligatory ones. Okay, so that's all I wanted to go over for today. Now, when we meet again for this class on Wednesday, I'm going to give you all a quiz on this stuff.